Hi, welcome. I'm Jessie Walters from Charles Rutenberg.
And I'm Shannon Minsch.
From Charles Rutenberg, too.
Yes.
You guys, thanks for joining us. We have a bunch of things to talk about, how to get your house all prepped and ready for a house sale, or what you're walking into if you're looking and doing a house purchase. So we have some tips and stuff like that. We were just talking about homestead exemption, too.
Yes.
So it's the deadline is
March
1st. Yeah. So we want to make
1st.
sure if you guys purchased a home this year, you want to make sure that you went or that you've gone to the county, or that some of the counties, I think Pinellas, you can apply online.
Yep.
But Hernando, you got to go in. Pasco, I mean, it's best to go in because they're going to ask for your driver's license to be changed. You can do a one-stop shop. If you haven't changed your driver's license, you're going to have to do that too. So be mentally prepared. Then they ask for some crazy stuff like your electric bill.
They want to prove. They want proof that you actually do live there and it's not a rental property.
Yeah.
And just so you guys don't know about homestead exemption and why it's important, essentially it's part of the Save Our Homes Act in Florida, where we have such a large retirement population here that's on fixed incomes. So people were, as the values were going up, they weren't able to pay for their property taxes and they were losing their homes as a result of the property taxes increasing. So it gives you a $50,000 deduction off the value of your house being assessed, but it also makes it so your taxes can only go up no more than 3% per year.
Yeah. If it's a rental house, then they'll raise it whatever they want. But if you get that homestead, it's going to lock it in there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's important. So, and we were just kind of talking about this before we went on, but I have a friend of mine who purchased in January of 2021, and he is homesteaded, but with the way the taxes and stuff work, it didn't get assessed until, his needless to say, his payment just went up like $800 a month is what it came down to, because it was assessed at the value when the market was going crazy and really high.
And then, as we were also talking about, you can't appeal it. So if you get a high tax bill and you think it's crazy and there's something's wrong, and there's other houses that are the same square foot that sold less and have less tax assessed, you can appeal it and submit that. And depending on which county and stuff, I want to say that deadline, is it September? I think the deadline for the appeals.
I don't know the appeals deadline off the top of my head.
Pretty sure it's September, but I would check that. So if you're going to appeal it, or apply for it, and then do that. So if you bought it, do that before March 1st, or that's it. You got to wait the whole year.
And you don't want these values to go up and then not have that 3% per year cap on it. So, because what ended up happening is that my friend ended up underfunding his escrow account. And so when he underfunded his escrow account, now you have to pay back that deficit plus the increase. Yeah. And so his payment literally went up $800 a month, and we're in the process of appealing it. But he called me frantic and was just like, I'm going to have to sell my house.
Oh no.
So
that's
he's
terrible.
not hopefully going to have to sell his house. We're going to try and figure out a way for him to keep it, but it's super stressful. So get your homestead exemption in by March 1st.
Yeah, and also if you're disabled, you're going to have extra for your for disability. If you're widowed, you can apply for an extra exemption for a widow. I'm trying to think, but your friend's probably not. He's probably young, not widowed, not.
He's like a single guy in his 50s. He's not widowed. He just, So
you're a veteran, you're disabled, all these different things. You can get more of an exemption and stuff. Some people don't know about that. Or
if you're legally blind, I think you get an exemption.
Yeah.
There's several of them.
Yeah.
And I know that some counties in Florida have exemptions from the school board if you're over a certain age and you're not. Like if you're retired and over a certain age, you don't have to pay all of like the school levies and stuff like that. It's county by county on that one. So a lot of them you do have to pay it. Some counties you don't if you're over a certain age.
Yeah, if you call up and ask, they'll take it off and stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's interesting, but it's good to remind everybody to apply for your homestead exemption. Do not forget. And then hopefully you'll work something out with your friend that he can afford to stay in his house.
I'm going to help him. We're going to work on the appeal process and see if we can get it lower. So
if it is true, like in other words, if the other in the neighborhood, if you can see the house is lower, they will adjust it. Sometimes I mean, I've had them adjust it just a teeny bit, and I've had them adjust it, quite a bit. So if there's other comparables like on the low end,
Yeah.
they will adjust it depending on which county. I've had it with Pasco County a couple times, and so good outcome and stuff like that, which is good and positive. So hopefully he'll be able to swing that back around. In fact, I just had customers text me right now, and they paid their tax bill in November, and they're selling their house. It's under contract now, and they're like, how do we get the credit back? We already paid for our taxes, but they, excuse me, the misconception is you're paying your taxes, and then you're paying your taxes for the year.
Correct.
So you get the bill, and it's January, and you're like, okay, it's January 2023 or February 2023.
But you're paying 2022's taxes.
Yeah, because taxes are always in the rear, so it's last year's taxes. So they're literally sending me messages right now, like, how do I get my taxes back? And I'm like, so I'm texting them, but they're missing the actual message. And so I'm gonna have to, after I get out of here, I have to say, well, you guys, and then they didn't have homestead on it. And so too, if you're selling and you're going to get if you live there 2 years and all that income is tax-free, when you sell, as long as you've lived there for 2 years. If it's a rental for 2 years, you're not going to get that tax, that income is going to be taxable.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. So we went over that too. And what's interesting about that is a lot of people don't know is that, so say let's just use, you're selling your house for $500,000, you purchased your house for $200,000. They were like, well, we didn't homestead it, and it was we would just go stay in the house. Did you homestead another property? Yes. Okay, so you can't homestead this, and they're like, we have to pay taxes on $500,000, and you don't. You have to. Well, you pay taxes on the $500,000 minus what you purchased it for.
Yeah.
So the $200,000, you pay taxes on the $300,000. So $300,000, and then I said, it was so funny because the customers talking about how they put toilets in. I thought that was so funny, but I was like, well, you can minus out the improvements that you did. So those 2 toilets, they're probably like $200.
Yeah.
You can take that
$400 you won't have to pay for taxes on that.
Yeah. So or just, I'm like knocking this down for you guys. Then they did actually put an AC in and stuff like that too. So there was some stuff that they'll be able to deduct, but meanwhile, they're still going to probably be hit with, and I don't know what income level they're at, but you figure 10%, and then the one customer I had, I don't know if I told you guys this, but he is 100 years old. Did I tell you that?
No.
So I'm sitting there in this, the gentleman, he's a character and a half. And I saw some birthday cards, and I was looking, and I'm like, does that say 100 years old? Like, I just saw 100. I didn't know, maybe it meant 100%. You know what I mean? And
sure.
So I'm talking to him, and he's like, why do I have to pay you? Well, I don't want to pay you. And I said, well, I'm going to take all your stress away on your selling, because if you do this by owner, 1, someone could come in and take advantage of you. 2, they could give you fake deposits, fake money orders. All these scams that are going on right now are crazy. And I'm like, 3, I'm handling it, so you don't have to handle it. And then he's like, well, what aren't you going to do for me? And I said, well, at this point, I didn't think I was getting a listing. So I was like, well, I'm not going to clean your house, and I'm not going to shampoo the carpet, and I'm not doing the windows. And then he starts kind of cracking up, and then he goes, you know how old I am? And then I was like, is that your card right there that says 100 years old? And he's 100 years old. Sharpest customer. I walk by him in Publix, and nobody recognizes me if I'm like, not dressed up or in my professional outfit. So I'm wearing like my workout clothes, and I walk by him, and he goes, 100 years old, drove himself up to Publix, walks by me, and I'm walking out the exit, which I shouldn't have been doing. But so he turns and looks at me, and I'm like, I see my customers all the time. They have no idea, you know what I mean? I have ponytail in, workout clothes. They don't even know who I am. But this guy, nope. He looks at me, and I go, I'm your realtor. And he's like, I know, So he's a character. But 100 years old, I was like, wow, it's pretty impressive.
I wanted to touch base on something you just said about the scams with the fake money orders.
Yeah.
People think money orders and cashier's checks are as good as cash, and they are not. Yeah. I used to manage a bank, and I actually I don't even understand how people do this stuff. Like it blows my mind. But people were selling, this was several years ago, back like when Craigslist was really hot.
Yeah.
And they were selling jewelry on Craigslist, and someone bought jewelry from them and gave them a cashier's check from our branch.
Oh my gosh.
Like they came in, got a cashier's check for like $5, and then somehow washed it and were able to make it look like it was like $6,000.
Wow, that's brazen.
And and so and I was the one who caught it. The only way I caught it was when the people who were selling the jewelry came in with it. It was issued from our branch, and so tellers have different signing authorities. If they're not super experienced, then they have a lower signing authority. And if they are super experienced, you get higher and higher levels of what dollar amounts they can sign on. Right. And so this specific teller was at my branch, and the cashier's check was purchased that day.
Oh, wow.
And so it was a really fast turnaround, but she had a lower signing authority than this like $6,000 on the check.
So you're like, that's too much. Why is her signature on this check?
Right. Yeah. And so I looked at it and I'm like, that doesn't make sense for her to, she knows not to sign this. So I went over and asked her about it. And I said, hey, did you do a cashier's check for $6,000? And she was like, no, I haven't done that. So then I went through her work and I saw, like, I was able to compare her receipt to the cashier's check. The cashier's check was actually only purchased for like $5.
Oh, wow.
And so we couldn't cash it for $6,000 when that's not what it was. So they ended up getting screwed out of the money, and it was really sad. So people think cashier's checks are as good as cash. They are not. There are scams that go with them. They need to be deposited and have holds put on them the same way any other check would. So, but these are things that people that are selling their houses, they just don't know.
Yeah. So that's, I think I had told you guys I had that rental. It was on realtor.com. They just copied it all, put it on Craigslist. And then, because the people were out of state, they said, well, can we just cash app you money to put a deposit to someone who's not me, the listing agent on the rental? And, so then they, sent me a message, hey, are you meeting us today? And I was like, I don't know who you are. And we already rented the house. And they were like, well, we sent $900 for Cash App. And I'm like, you need to call your bank, So they called the bank. And so then I had to go to the police department. And then I had another one call, and the same exact thing. He called, and he was, he was coming to meet me. And he was using my full name. And I was like, why are you using my full name? And he's like, well, are you the one I'm talking to on Craigslist? I'm like, people, why are you guys using Craigslist?
Who uses Craigslist anymore?
I know. And the police officer actually said, we don't see these scams because most people know not to use Craigslist now with the rentals and stuff, but they still do it. And so the scam was send me the Cash App. And I've had them with the scam, like the Amazon gift cards. We talked about that before, but the Amazon gift cards, just take pictures and flip them over and rub off the thing for the UPC or whatever it is on the back, the code. And so they'll take a picture of the front and the back, and they'll like send them to me. And that was on another rental scam. And the people said, well, your son's sick. And you told me, and I'm like, no, I didn't tell you any of that.
Yeah.
And so I went to the police department on that one. That one was Pasco County.
All the scams.
Yeah.
Like all of them.
Oh my gosh. I heard one, this did not happen to me, but so you know how they'll say, we're going to guarantee, or we're going to send you a code on your phone. First, they'll send you a thing that says, did you make these purchases? Right. So then you go, oh, it's my bank. No, I didn't make these purchases. And it says, call this 1-800 number if you didn't make this purchases, or they'll call you, right? Well, the scam is they send you this message, that message from the bank. It's not the bank, but and then they'll say, then they're in your computer, they're trying to get on, and it'll say, we're going to send you a code. You know how the bank does that?
Yeah.
They're like, we're going to send you a one-time, we're going to send you this one-time code. Well, they're trying to log into your account. So then the bank sends you that code, but you think you're talking to the bank because it says, did you make these transactions? So they're like, we're going to send you a code, but knowing that they're trying to hack into your account, the bank send you that code for them to get in.
Yeah.
So then they get into your account with that code. So the one lady who it had happened to, she was driving through an area and dropped the call. So she called the bank back direct because I don't know. She just got lucky. And then when she called back, they're like, we're not on the phone with you, but someone is trying to get into your account right now. So then they locked her account and stuff. But that's scary.
So I've mentioned this to you. I'm in the middle of a big banking scam where I did get a call. It was on a Friday night. It was like
the
Friday before Martin Luther King Day. And I got a call saying that there was an unauthorized or there's a suspicious login on my account. And then from Los Angeles, California, is this you press 1? Is it not you press 2? And I pressed 2, and then it said, okay, we've logged them out. And that was it. That was as far as it went. And then it hung up the phone. I went into my account, and there was not a second factor authentication done. And it was an unknown device, and they were able to log in and transfer $6,595 out of my account in a matter of seconds into other internal accounts, like within the same institution.
Wow.
It's been over a month. They still don't have that money back.
Wow, that's so scary. Yeah, you're like, get rid of your account there.
Oh, I closed those accounts, and I did everything I could. That night, I tried to call it's a small credit union. I tried to call the credit union. They don't have 24-hour fraud lines. So I did change my password immediately. And then the next morning, as soon as they opened, I called them to shut my accounts down, and then the accounts the money went into down. One of the accounts that the money went into was under the name Diana Ross. I'm like, this is a fake account. What are you guys doing to vet your account holders?
You're like, Michael Jackson and Diana Ross do not need my $6,000.
They don't need my money. So,
I mean, we're laughing, but it's not funny because it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, they it was crazy. There was one transfer for $5,000 to Diana Ross, and then the $1,595. They literally emptied one of my kids' savings accounts into the other savings account.
Oh, wow.
And then transferred to another account there. So I'm just like, holy cow, but it's been over a month and I still don't have that money back.
Yeah, that's terrible.
That's crazy.
That's well, and the land, I have a land listing, and the seller, I'm going to do a whole thing on it though, because I don't want to spoil it for everybody, because that one's a great one. So it's basically the seller pretending like it's his land. So they get you a referral from our office. She didn't want to come to Hernando, so got that referral. So can you sell this land? And then he went and got other people. So he had all these listings, 2 parcels, which is kind of a red flag if you need 3 different realtors to sell all your land.
Right. You would have one person to do it. Yeah.
And then he basically just copied the name. So we're trying to authenticate, make sure that he's the person selling the property, and asked him for his driver's license. He sent that over. But I'll go into it, and I have all the pictures and stuff. It's such a good story.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. So
she gets all the scams.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
I mean, it's like, I can't make this stuff up. I cannot even make it up. But anyway, so right now we're waiting for him to verify that he is who he is, which we know he is not who he saying he is. Yeah. So unfortunately, the buyers are all disappointed, but at least no one's lost any money or anything on it. So that part's good. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Everybody sit tight, and we will join you back in just a second. Hey, welcome back. I'm Jessie Walters from Charles Rutenberg.
And I'm Shannon Minsch, also from Charles Rutenberg.
Yay. If you guys are buying or selling, we are the people to call for listing, or if you're a buyer, we can do buyer's agent too. And then I've actually been doing some commercial. not a lot of people in our office do commercial, but because I own some commercial property, they let me dabble. So I have a new listing. It's at 9334 State Road 52 in Hudson. It is a tire shop currently. It does include the property and it does include the business too. So if you're thinking about getting into automotive stuff, you can take over, or if you want to take the actual listing itself or the building and turn it into something else, you could do that too. It's right next to Dunkin' Donuts, across from, like when you pull into Dunkin' Donuts, you can go into the tire shop or you can go into Dunkin' Donuts. So it's actually super good, conveniently located, especially if you like Dunkin' Donuts. And but anyway, there's a school across the street, there's a car wash across the street, there's Wawa across the street, McDonald's. So it's in a very good area.
You said it's on 52, right?
Yeah, State Road 52. It's between, let's see, what is it? It's between like Little Road 52. It's kind of, I want to say east about a block from Little Road and State Road 52. So there's a Wells Fargo there. And then there's, like I was saying, 5A high school is right across the street too. So it's a really good location and stuff. And that's the actual, I don't think my pictures aren't coming up. There it is. Yeah, so you can't really miss it. And I've got the new sign out there in front, our big purple sign for Charles Rutenberg. So you can't miss it. And I had all the aerial shots and stuff done too. In fact, on this listing, someone else had took my listing, copied it, and put it. This listing is $450,000. They put it at $750,000, and they did it so professionally on LoopNet that I had to actually call LoopNet, and they made me prove that it was my listing. I had to send the listing agreement over, and then they pulled his listing down and put mine up. But anyway, so if you buy it from me, it's $300,000 cheaper. So I mean, I would think that people would.
So why wouldn't they?
Yeah. I don't know. And anyway, there's a building right next door. You can kind of see that little red rooftop. It was going to be a Joe's something coffee. And they decided, see the red roof there? They decided not to go. So that one's for sale too. I think that one's $700. So it has a little bit more like acreage or whatever. But anyway, that one is for sale as well. So if someone's looking to do something like, and rip both buildings out and do something amazing there, you could do that as well. And do like a joint venture with both lots and stuff. So there's that one. And then I also have one on Commercial Way in Brooksville/Weeki Wachee. It's the 34613 area code. It's 1.5 million. That one's 20 acres. And part of it's buildable, part of it is not buildable. It's based on a 10-acre price because it's right on US 19. So it's a great opportunity for someone who either wants to build like a little mansion on an island, or they could, get it rezoned for some commercial or some, storage or car wash or ACLF, but that one, you'd have to verify everything with the county and stuff on that one too. And then I think I have La Quinta, which, I have a villa. That one is $197 asking. That one I do have under contract currently. So that one is, a good deal. I had lots and lots of people out there and offers coming in on that, and everybody on the news are like, no, it's real estate is slow, but I beg to differ. When
I've
you
been
get
so busy.
Yeah, I know. I haven't stopped. Last night I got home at 7:30 at night showing houses. I was down in Dade City, San Antonio, switched to Newport Richie, River Ridge, Trinity, River Ridge, ended up at Newport Richie, River Ridge Country Club. I'm just showing houses everywhere. A lot yesterday, 2 different sets of clients and stuff too. So it's crazy. But people, it's so funny because they watch the news. They're like, no, the prices are going down, which I feel like they leveled out. We're good. Everything.
Yeah.
So you find that too.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, we are seeing that sellers are more willing to negotiate and that kind of stuff. You're typically not going live and then having 20 offers like we were months ago.
Right.
But I like a neutral market. I think it's better when both sides feel like they're winning and nobody feels like they're getting screwed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it just wasn't that way for buyers for a long time.
Yeah.
But no, I'm busy. I mean, I've got 5 houses under contract right now.
That's awesome.
So it's people are buying, people are selling.
Yep. True. Yeah. And I did some new construction and they were like, actually hitting the dates that they said they're going to be finished and everything. I'm like, things are on touch wood. Things are going smooth.
Yep.
I think
Right?
that's metal.
It's all right. It's wood on the side.
Yeah, but I'm kicking it now. It's wood. Okay. But yeah, so but yeah, everything's going smooth, and I feel like it hasn't like I said, touch wood, it hasn't happened to us where we're slow.
Right.
I have a couple friends who are new in the business who haven't sold anything in a year, and I'm like, well, I was mentoring them and stuff, and I suggested them to keep their other job because there was this influx of all these realtors at once. And not that you shouldn't change your career and shouldn't have faith in, but you should also be, if you've got a new home and new cars and you're trying to support
Make sure
yourself.
you can pay for them.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure. Yeah.
And it's a very feast and famine industry. Like,
Yeah.
Even when we're busy, like I'm pretty busy right now, but because I'm so focused on the 5 contracts I have, I'm not out trying to prospect and get new business. So what'll happen is once these all close, and they're all going to be like back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to be really bored for a few weeks
I know,
before I
yeah.
get going again.
That's what because someone asked me that, and I said, well, real estate is like you're always like setting it up for the month,
Yeah.
for the 2 months in advance.
Yeah.
So I'm working now for next, for March, April.
Right.
Whereas most people work, and they get paid that Friday.
And that's just not the case.
Yeah. So like you said, it's feast or famine. And then, so like the new construction, I like it because I try to pretend like it's not happening. Like I have 2.
Because it takes forever. So
yeah.
you kind of
Actually, I
forget
have
about
3.
it.
Yeah. I have 3. So I have one that was supposed to close 2022. That was a custom home builder. And then that one did not close yet. And then I have one that's supposed to close March. That one is it's going to be doing, they're sending like updated pictures. So I know that one's good. Then I have one, and it's not till the summer for the custom home builder. So I have 3. So I just try to forget that those are coming through with like, God forbid something happens, not count on that, obviously don't spend the money before you get it.
Because it just takes so long for those.
Custom home builders, long time.
Oh yeah. My new construction I have closing on Monday.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was Monday. But and they had already started building it. So the builder was who picked out the finishes and everything.
Yeah, that's the same with this one.
So this one's been under contract for like 5 months, I think.
Oh, that's good.
So, because they had already started building.
The one I had, they did, I was telling people like if you're, I guess, limited funds down payments, there's a bunch of like specials you can get with new construction if you contact, realtor, and then a realtor gets you your specials, and then you have assistance for either buying a rate down or down payment assistance, or it's surprising. It's nice.
This new construction is in Bexley, so it's in, I would consider a pretty high demand community in Land O'Lakes. Schools are great. And I was able to get $35,000 in closing costs.
Yeah, isn't it amazing?
$35,000.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah. So the one I had, same thing. They bought the rate down, which was like, I want to say 10 grand. And then they gave them like 15. So yeah, 25 grand.
25, right?
Yeah.
So
they were like, well, can we get a discount on the price? I'm like, you're getting 25. You don't have to bring hardly any money to the table at all.
And with new construction, that is kind of a thing. A lot of times these builders are not super willing to negotiate price, but they are willing to negotiate on closing cost assistance, or maybe they'll negotiate on getting the blinds package thrown in for free.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah.
This is like a 3,000 square foot house. It does not have a single blind in the entire house.
Isn't that funny? That and then it drives me nuts is that you spend all that money, so you're spending like $600,000 to $800,000, and then there's the caps for the fans, but most of them don't have fan packages.
That is this. Yeah, this builder does not have fans. They just have caps in every room.
So you go see the model, and there's fans in every room, and there's all these different colors. So like I say, we need to go do the walkthrough of a house that is not completed, so you guys can see it's going to be one color. It's going to be there's going to be no fans. There's going to be no blinds.
Yeah.
Just so you can see, because I think they get into shock because they saw that model home. And I always tell the story. I had one girl who was pregnant. We went into the model home at Connerton, and she was like, I love it. And then she went to her new home. It was exactly the same. And she was crying, and we're like, what's wrong? It didn't have the backsplash. It didn't have the kitchen wasn't the same color. The one room wasn't the same color. So we had this gentleman, this painter go in and match all the colors.
Yeah.
And then go to her house and paint it. And then she was happy and stuff. But I was like, I never thought until that moment. And that was probably, gosh, I learned my lesson. That was like 10 years ago. So now I'm always like, okay, we got to see the plain house because otherwise you guys are different. You guys are going to be sad because, I mean, you can always add your touches, but you got to know that sometimes the light fixtures aren't included. Sometimes the fans aren't, but there'll be electrical caps there. Sometimes there's not even electrical caps, like for the outside, the decorative lights. Sometimes,
like the carriage lights.
Yeah. Sometimes those are extra or it comes with one, stuff that you need to ask just, depending on which builder.
Yeah, they're all different.
Yeah, exactly.
All of them. They all have their own little systems. And this one includes a fridge and washer and dryer. This one does not. And
I went to, there's this builder, gosh, what was it called? Sunlight, I want to say. I was down in Ruskin and I just happened across this builder. I want to say I never heard of it ever. So now I can't remember.
Heard of that.
And it's a little teeny builder. So you walk in and stuff. And I was doing that whole thing of like, does it include the refrigerator? Which they, during 2008, 2009, they stopped, a lot of builders stopped including like the refrigerator because people were just getting their houses foreclosed. And the first thing they would do is sell the refrigerators and stuff. So this place didn't have the fridge because I noticed, I was like, where's the fridge at? And I'm like, does it not include the fridge? And now lately, everybody's including the fridges again. So they had stopped with the fridges, and now fridges are back. But this builder, no fridge.
So we're under contract with West Bay, and West Bay does not include a fridge.
Yeah.
Or a washer and dryer.
Yeah.
But I also kind of feel like the builders that do include those things, it's like the cheapest versions of those things. They're not going to go pick out the fancy fridge that you're going to pick out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They're not going to, and I mean, blinds I think are here nor there. You can get some bbasic blinds and that would be nice if those were included. Typically they're not. But
why?
With light fixtures for sure though.
And then also it's so funny too, because you walk in, there's all the laminate and it looks all beautiful. And they're like, but this is all going to be carpet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is not going to be any laminate whatsoever. And you're like, okay, so we definitely need to go see that base model. And when we went to the place in Ruskin, he was like, you're not allowed to go into they tell you you're not allowed to go in. You have to wear hard hats if you go into the model center. So I was like, you guys can look in the window though of this house just to see
what it looks like.
Yeah, and then we can see because they had appointments only, and they only had so many houses left, and they had good prices and stuff on it. But they had appointment after appointment, so they looked in and they liked it and stuff. But this small builder, the bedrooms were small, so they were like, oh, let's not waste our time on this one. But it was just funny because they were all exactly the same. So some builders will have like, there were different styles of homes, but every home inside had the same color cabinets and the same color countertops.
A lot of times some of them will give you your choices.
Yeah.
But then other ones, even if they are building it like a Lennar or a DR Horton, where it's kind of what you see is what you get, they at least will switch up. Like this cabinets are going to be black or espresso. These ones will be white. These ones will be gray. Like usually they'll do like
they'll say which one. Yeah, which one do you like? And you're like, you say, oh, I like the white one. There's this one's a white and this one's white over there. And you're like, oh, I like the coffee. This one, okay, but this neighborhood, all the same. And it was that white with the speckle countertops, which we've seen like a million times.
The quartz counters.
Yeah. So I was like, I mean, they look nice, but it's just that your neighbor, and I guess it's like that you won't be competing with your neighbor because you're exactly the same.
See, that would drive me crazy. I would feel like I need like
something different.
I have like a very strange personal style when it comes to home decor.
You say like shabby, what is it? Shabby chic or
shabby chic?
Shabby chic.
Mine,
that's it.
I would say is more of like a, it's called maximalism. Is kind of like
a minimalism.
Right. Now there's maximalism. Yeah. Everything in my house, like some people think it's probably insane. But like I designed my entire dining room around this obnoxious giant gold flamingo lamp.
Oh, nice.
Where like it's like this tall. You can't even see on the screen. Anyway, yeah, it's like that tall. And it has a shade like in the middle of it. So you can just see like body and its head coming out.
Oh, nice.
It's so ridiculous. And I love it. My whole dining room is designed around that. And then I have very modern, but like flamingo wallpaper in my office. It's like all navy and pinks. And But it's crazy. I apparently there's like an inner 80-year-old lady inside me who wants to decorate with flamingos everywhere.
Yeah, I was like, you need those plastic flamingos in your front yard.
I know, right? I don't have them, but I do want.
But you want them, right?
I want to flock someone. I want to literally like. I need to buy like 100 plastic flamingos
and just throw them in someone's yard
and just go flock someone.
I think that we should do that maybe at like Halloween time. Like if there's someone who just kind of irritated you all year, and then they wouldn't even know it's being done. You know, you wear your black outfits
and you do it in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
yeah,
like crazy realtors. Yeah. So, what I was going to say, I also have a couple lots for sale too, that are located Petunia, and I have one on West Broad. Those are still available. If you need a custom home builder, we can hook you up on that too. And those two are available. And be careful if you do list your house, be careful of those scam. They have the scam things that you listed your house. I want to buy your house. And I had someone call me, a friend of a friend, and they were asking me about, there's the other one. They were asking me about, well, this guy wants to buy my house. He offered, or a lot that there's a house on it, but it's dilapidated. So basically it's like a lot value, and he wants to buy it, and he needs, the red flag is he needs 90 days to buy it. So I said, all he's doing is, so what they do is they teach people how to buy houses, no money down, and they buy it with an assignable contract. So the little box on the contract says assignable. It means that now I can take this contract and I can sell it to someone else and make 10 grand. So if I buy it, and he was going to buy it from him for 10 grand or for 35 grand. And I said, now all the properties in there are worth like 50. So all they're going to do is say, hey, you want to buy this for 45? So they can make 10 grand with your contract. Nothing, they didn't have to do anything, no sweat, no tears. And then worst case scenario, in 90 days, if they didn't find anyone, they just go, we're not going to buy it. It's in a flood zone or some excuse, some random, but you gave them 90 days on it. So I told them,
do they just lose their deposit at that point, or do they try to not?
They try to not, well, they try to, well, no, they have it. They usually send their own contract, so it covers their deposit too. Anything that they find a reason not to purchase the actual home or the lot or whatever it is, they have it in there. So I told them, you can send me the. I mean, I usually don't do that, but it's a friend of a friend, and I used to play adult soccer on the soccer league, and I used to play with this guy. So I was like, if you want to send it over, I'll check it for you. And then he said, oh, I sent it to my friend who's an attorney, and the attorney said he wouldn't touch it either. And I'm like, well, if an attorney tells you,
yeah,
they know more than me.
Yeah.
So that assignable, the box was checked. And so it's just basically someone just fishing to make money out of you, knowing that you're basically selling it less than the value, So they're going to make a quick 10 grand on you. So be careful of assignable contracts. Be careful of people texting you and calling you, I want your property. I'm going to pay you cash within so many days. And be careful of that stuff. So everybody sit tight. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. I'm Jessie Walters from Charles Rutenberg.
And I'm Shannon Minsch, also from Charles Rutenberg.
Thanks for joining us again. And we were talking about how to prep your house for listings is what we were going to touch on, just so like your listing, hopefully.
Just went on tangents and haven't even talked about it yet.
Yeah, I know exactly. But well, if you're listing, hopefully we're with you and we're telling you this is what you need to do. But if you're just kicking it around and you're trying to prepare before you actually talk to us, your realtors, then we're trying to give you a little bit of advice and stuff. So I always say all the feels and all the smells and all that stuff are really important when you're listing your house, which means house has to be clean, which it doesn't have to smell like perfume, because sometimes that gets a little overwhelming too. So
some people are very sensitive to like florally scents.
And, makes my nose itch thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the if you have dogs and cats and it has a little of that odor of cat, you probably can't even tell because it's your house.
Yeah, you can't smell it. And
Yeah.
then other people come in and they smell it.
Yeah.
I know my dog is disgusting. I have 2 dogs, but one of them is a Great Dane. He's 150 pounds.
Oh, shoot.
And he is just like the smelliest thing on the planet. So
Most lovable, smelliest thing, right?
but I had like 2 little dogs and they really didn't smell. And then this guy smells. His name's Frankenstein. And
Frankenstein.
he's crazy. But he's so
That's
smelly.
awesome.
So we bought an air purifier. I think it was like, I want to say it was like $200 or $300 on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of cleans my air in my
that's
living
good.
space, and it makes a big difference.
Yeah. Well, I burn the candles and stuff like that. So I'll say, a light candle smell is good.
Yep.
But then also you're leaving your house to show, someone's going to show it, and then you're burning a candle. So make sure that maybe your realtor, if she's showing it, maybe be careful, or, and then she lights it or if it's an open house, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you got candles. If you have carpet, did you shampoo your carpet? Because a lot of that will hold a lot of smells and stuff like that too. And then ask people, to tell you honestly if it does smell, because like I said, you might not even know, but the air purifiers are great.
Yeah.
My mom has 2 of them, and she said, I don't even dust. Takes all the dust out.
Yeah,
I was like,
it does.
oh, that's good.
And it like
a good sell for air purifiers.
it even
We're not making commission on this thing.
but it even has like an antimicrobial thing in it, so it takes smell and stuff away, but it's also like cleaning your air. So
Right. It's they're handy, and so you got your smells, and then I don't know if you do this too, but I always say so when this is like kind of like you're at the end and you're kind of setting the mood or whatever for your buyers to come in. So I always say, put every light on.
Yep.
Put your air conditioner at like comfortable, like 75, and you may never have it at 75 or 70.
Oh, I'm like a 72 girl.
Yeah. So put it,
I
so
want
it's
it cool.
comfortable. Yeah. And then, so you got your lighting, you got your air condition, it smells good. And then you also want to make sure that, you don't have to put, but I always say jazz music.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've had, customers, put, like I had one, it wasn't my listing and I was showing it was in Spring Hill, and they had they had Metallica playing, so it was on Lexus or Alexa. And then I was like, so I changed it to jazz because my customers were a little older and everything. And they were like, oh, thank you so much. But they wanted to get out of there because it was like,
You want something that's not going to be abrasive.
Yeah.
And you may love hard rock, but not everyone does.
Yeah.
And
So
you
put it
want
neutral.
Neutral.
Yeah. And speaking of that, neutral colors are very important too. So I went to a house yesterday in San Antonio, and it was a really nice house, but the outside they had painted it like this black battleship color. Looked cool. It looked cool, believe it or not. It was like charcoal, the whole house. And in the roof was that new, where it's like gray and it's like kind of like a blue, and so it looked cool. But then we got in. Yeah, we got in, and it was like, I was gonna say there's teal over there, but it was like a bright teal color on the one wall, and they had painted over an orange color, but they missed, it was so high in the air, they missed, you could see the orange, and then you could see the teal, and it just, and it just looked bad. And they had all this wood ceilings and wood floors, and they'd hit the teal paint on the side, and I was like, oh no. So then my customers are like, what would we do with this? And a lot of people have a hard time envisioning literally painting over the teal. Paint's not that expensive, but
it's not expensive. They just can't picture it.
Yeah.
They just can't picture it. Like I always say, buyers are not always creative. And so they can't see past something. All they see is work.
Yeah.
And if all they see is work, they're not going to want to buy it.
Yeah.
I always go with agreeable gray. It's so boring and basic, but it's like a beige. It's a grayish is what I call it.
Yeah.
Where it can go either way, beige or gray.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what their decor is. It's always going to be neutral and pull out, the 2 base colors.
This one they had they'd started like the rock, like backsplashes and stuff like that in the bathrooms and everything, and then not finished it, but then had all the tiles. So there was a couple. So my customers literally looked at it as if it was going to be forever and a day to try to, we're going to buy it, and then we're going to have to come in here and we're going to have to fix it up. And I said, well, what if they would finish it? Oh, well, it doesn't say that, in the ad doesn't say, but I'm like, well, why would you have all this material here if you weren't A, plan on giving you this material to finish it, or B, going to finish it hopefully themselves, but they had all the paints and they had crazy colors everywhere. And so I just felt like, possibly someone hadn't shared with them because the outside looked good, as far as curb appeal, but the inside I was like, oh gosh, still work in progress,
Needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
And kind of touching base on the outside, and we talked about this a little bit before we started, but I always try to do a lot of time, spend a lot of time on preparing the outside of my listings because you have 6 seconds to make a first impression. And this is kind of a thing with just the way
sales,
the human brain works in the sales, you have 6 seconds to make a first impression. And then whatever that first impression is, they're then going to spend the entire rest of the time trying to validate that initial first impression.
Right.
So if the first impression is that the lawn isn't well maintained, that the house has a bunch of deferred maintenance that hasn't been done, that it's not clean, they're going to go through the entire house with that immediate expectation, and then they're going to be pulling out, oh, well, this needs to be done, well, that needs to be done,
true.
And then they're not going to buy. So getting some beauty bark, planting flowers, making sure the door is clean, freshly painted.
I know I went through all that with them, make sure this door, wipe the mold off. And then I had one of my electronic lock boxes and it had mold on top of it. And I installed it and I was like, I gave them all the advice, get rid of all that mold. But here's my moldy electronic lock box. And then I had one in this community in Tampa, and it was a condo. And I guess where I put it was the sellers didn't want it on their front door, so I put it on the staircase. So evidently everybody smokes at the staircase. So someone got a little, with my electronic lock boxes, all got burn marks all the way up the whole thing is like a burn, and those are expensive. You know what I mean?
They're like $150.
Yeah. So I still use it on places I'm like, maybe no one will notice the burn. I mean, you're going to see my lockbox. I'm going to just paint it, spray it with some spray paint.
Something.
Yeah. For $150. I'm like, I'm going to make sure this thing lasts forever. But yeah, so when you pull up, don't have a burn up electronic lockbox or one with mold. Yeah. And then if you clear all the area, like you said, flowers, mulch, gravel, any of that stuff, and to make sure your doors are freshly painted or that all the mold, because I don't know, I think the grime on the front door, people just get used to seeing it,
Yeah, they just don't even notice it, but it is that first impression. So I have a listing in Safety Harbor that just went under contract last night, and the poor seller, he's such a sweet guy. He does these multi-year commercial construction contracts, and his current contract is up in Bushnell.
Oh, wow.
Which is why we're selling. So he's driving 2 hours to Bushnell each way from Safety Harbor.
Wow.
So he wanted to get all of this stuff done before we listed the house, but with a 4-hour commute each day, there's just no way.
His life is driving,
Right. So he ran out of time, and he's like, let's just go live. So I noticed that, and his house is from the 70s, and the roof is only a few years old, but from the previous owners, there was a leak or something in the front exterior entranceway.
Right.
And so there was blistering on the paint as you walk up. And then there was a metal screen door over the front door, and it had this metal grate on it. And this is all from the 70s. Well, the old owners tried to paint this metal door because it was rusted, because it's 50 years old, and they got paint all over the screen.
Oh no.
And so it's little white blotches all over the screen.
You're take it all down.
Well, I ended up I think it cost $350. It wasn't anything crazy. We had a handyman do the ceiling, and he didn't paint it, but he took the old paint down, retextured it. He re-screened the front door.
Oh, that's good.
And then there was tint on the 2 sliders in the house that was peeling off and old. I had him remove all of the tint.
Oh, that's
from
good.
the
Make
sliders.
It look just neat and clean.
Right. At $350, and it just cleaned everything up. I had the owner paint the door, and after the handyman came in for the ceiling, he repainted the ceiling. But just a little bit of money, and it made a huge difference, and now it's under contract.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Yeah. So it's just, people were always saying, oh, it needs so much work. It needs so much work.
Yeah.
The house doesn't really need that much work.
Isn't that weird? and this sounds, I don't want to pick on us ladies, but I think us ladies have more of a problem with the vision, where guys are just like, I could do that. I'll do that. And then women are like, oh, I'd have to paint. I'm not a really good painter. Oh, they can't imagine it being a different color and stuff like that. So you really have to kind of open your mind up and go, okay, So, I have this one that's coming soon listing, and I'll put this up. So this listing is in Newport Richey. It's going to be under 400. It's a really nice house and stuff. And it's kind of like the original house though. It does need like upgrading and stuff like that, but it's got your, a real beautiful, you can see how high the ceilings and stuff are inside of it. Really beautiful as far as the windows. But the first thing I said was the windows, you got to clean the windows. And she was like, oh no, because you can see how high the top window is on that thing. It's not, it's like, we're talking at least 20, 30 feet. And so she got someone to clean that. And then there was some touch-up paint that needed to be done way up there too. And I'm like, the first thing you see is this,
Yeah, you
and
have
then
to do it.
Yeah, and there was apparently like there was some type of leak, and it had been fixed, but her husband had passed away, so she wasn't sure when it had been fixed, stuff like that. So I'm like, you just have to disclose as a realtor and a homeowner, disclose, and then disclose some more that, okay, hey, it leaked, we fixed it. Here's what it is. But I said, but the main thing is to have it look good, so you walk in, you don't see this eyesore, So that does help. So we prepared that house and stuff, but that one's in Newport Richey, and it's coming, should be next month. And I have another one coming in Land O'Lakes too, 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, Land O'Lakes. And it's right next to Bexley, but it's not Bexley.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're not paying Bexley prices.
Yeah. So it's under 400 grand. Yeah. But you can go and break into Bexley's HOA. No, just joking. You can't really, but that one has a playground and I think a dog park or dog walking area, but that doesn't have a lot of amenities, so the HOA is less expensive on it. But
that's nice.
Yeah. So anyway, we were talking about decluttering. So that on that house I was showing you guys, I have her decluttering. I told her, I walked in and I'm not I guess I'm a direct person, but I'm not a mean person. So I'm like, if you want me to help you, I will. And she's like, what do I need to do? So I'm like, okay, you need to get rid of this, get rid of that, paint that, clear this out, if you can paint this neutral. So she had a handyman in there. He was great, and he was doing all the stuff. And it really, it still looks like 1990s, the kitchen and cabinets and stuff like that, but it looks clean and neat, and and that's what you want, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as that, so you want it to look good and stuff. So you want
depersonalize.
Yeah. And I was showing houses yesterday. I saw someone, they put fake money, and they put it next to their bed, and I was like, oh my God, I thought it was real. I was like, oh my gosh, that's
Why would they leave fake money next to their bed?
I don't know, but I thought that was so funny that they would put like their fake what were they, $20,000 bill or something like that. It was I guess a joke or something.
Oh,
but
gotcha.
yeah, so I walked by and I was like, oh gosh, that's so bad. They shouldn't have money out, but who cares, as I'm walking through. And then my customers are right over there like, oh, that's that fake money. There's all these jokes about this fake money. I don't know. Yeah, I guess when Trump was in, he talked about making a $20,000 bill or something like that. I don't even know. Yeah, so it had his picture on it, and it was right next to it. And I was like, okay, so first of all, you don't want to put like presidential, I had this one customer.
Political affiliation at all.
Yeah.
Don't put anything political.
So the one customer couldn't sell his house, and he was way less than everybody. And I go back out, and I'm like, well, we're having an open house. And I had to take all his everybody's signs out of the yard. Mm-hmm. I'm like, this is why you're not selling your house right here, because 100%. No one wants to pull up in the yard. I've had one in Spring Hill on Surrey Bend, good friend of mine, and half the house is Biden and half the house is Trump during the elections and stuff. And I was like, I'm going to kill you guys. But then I walk in, I'm further, and I'm like, okay, she's all Trump. So literally it was like half the house. And I don't even know how they live together, because they're literally fighting. One's got the one window with all Biden, and one's got the one window with Trump. And I'm like, you guys shouldn't have any of this up at all.
Let's get this all out of here.
Yeah. So, but I said, I guess there's something for everybody in this house, but I've gone to several houses where I think the agents are scared to say something, but my customers did not care what I told them. They were like, nope, I'm leaving my stuff up.
I also think I know in some cultures, like they have religious things that are part of kind of their practice and stuff, but overall, I would pull religious items down. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
you
just don't
put-
want any of your personal beliefs, political, religious, otherwise, to
Yeah.
like affect
The
whoever's
sale.
buying your house. I mean,
Yeah.
you want to sell your house and you want to sell it for the highest amount
You know,
possible.
though,
That's what's important.
I sold one, and she watches the show. Becca, I sold them a house, and it was so funny because they have this. It's not like live, love, laugh. It's like something. I don't know. It was some quote, some Bible quote at their house, and we go to this house, and there's the Bible quote, and then they ended up to be.
They were like, it's a sign.
Yeah, they were. And they bought the house because of it. I mean, literally, that helped. The house was great, so, in fact, when I was talking with them and stuff, some land came up behind their house, and I found out that, so it said like that acreage I was just showing you. So it had like 6 acres, totally off the subject, but I didn't know this, that, okay, only a half acre was buildable because of the swampland. And so when I was talking to the other broker on it, he said that through SwiftMud, you can pay $250,000 an acre to change that to, because I always wondered.
To make it buildable?
Yeah, I always wondered
I'm
what
sure
the
developers
fee.
do that.
Well, that's what he had talked to a developer, so that's how much it chart. But I didn't know that was
So
200
expensive.
Yeah, so there's 6 acres, and they're like, "Well, can we build on it?" I'm like, "You can only build a half because it's on swamplands, but you can have it read whatever." For SwiftMud for $250,000 an acre. I was like, because you see neighborhoods and they're
much
like, this
money.
was built on a swamp.
Yeah.
That's how they do it. Because I was like, I didn't know what the premium was though, and that's like probably approximate because I didn't get actual prices and stuff, but
Yeah.
$250,000 to
Now you know
basically
why
fill it
these
in.
new construction lots are like this big.
Yeah.
Because they want to pack in as many houses
Yeah.
as they can since
They're
it's so
like-
expensive.
Exactly. Yeah, and that one's on State Road 52 as well. So if you guys are looking on State Road 52, I got a lot of stuff. But yeah, so that definitely is expensive if you're going to change that, change the whatever your building and stuff like that. But you guys, thanks for joining us. I want to thank Delynn Gaston from the mortgage firm for always supporting us and being a sponsor. And you guys have a blessed day, and we'll meet again soon.
Bye.